Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fancy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about A Red Rose Chain, the ninth book in the October Days series by Seanan McGuire. And I've just been having a blast in this series. Each installment is just good. It's just good. I think the series has begun to reach a point for me where it's kind of plateauing. The books aren't getting better by leaps and bounds, but they are not decreasing in quality in any way, shape, or form. And that's, I think, kind of the best way to describe what happens with this one. Each book just continues to build on the other, build on the previous in just in ways that can really it builds on what's happened before without you having necessarily to know what's happened before. Each is still managing to be its very standalone thing, but the main thrust of the main arc of the story is very much influenced by what's happened before, and that's kind of what goes on in this book. In this particular book, what even happens, by the way, Queen Arden Windermere has now taken possession of the Kingdom in the Mist, and it's been pretty peaceful. Of course, peace doesn't last, and her seneschal gets elf shot, so he's been put to sleep for 100 years. So what happens after that, of course, is that the attack gets traced, and it's a very clear message that's sent from the Kingdom of Silences, territory that has been to war with the Kingdom in the Mist previously. So who does Arden turn to be a diplomat? None other than Toby. So Toby goes to the Kingdom of Silences, and of course things just go south from there in all the best ways possible. So that's a nutshell. That's the setup for this book, basically. And like I said, these books are kind of at the point for me now where they're holding a very steady pace, a very steady quality. I can pick one up and I can guarantee I'm going to have a fun adventure. It's not going to suck. It may not necessarily blow my mind the way some of the previous books have blown my mind, or it's not necessarily going to really rock my world, but I'm just going to have a good time reading it. And that's very much what this particular book is about. Like this one, we see Toby take on a whole new type of challenge because she's forced to work as a diplomat in this one, which is not something Toby can handle well, or is cut out to be in the best of circumstances. And then of course, there's this whole mystery incorporated into it, but there's also quite a bit more intrigue and suspense because she doesn't have the usual tools and the usual actions in her toolbelt that she would typically take. And this book in particular has quite huge ramifications, not just in terms of the geopolitical setup that's kind of been touched on, but also in terms of the ramifications for what's happened, how the essential rules of how this world works. There's certain things. One of the things I learned from reading Brandon Sanderson is one of the things that you can do to really keep readers engaged is to establish something as an ironclad rule. Get your readers to convince that this is how this works. There's no possible way that it can't work any other way. And then break that rule. And break that rule in a logical way that is going to just blow your reader. Just pulling that off that will blow your readers' minds. And that's something that Seanan McGuire absolutely does in this book with one particular element. So, in short, pretty much all the previous October Day novels, there's just it's just a very fast-paced but very intrigue-driven, more so than I think. In terms of the books, these books tend to be very much action thriller, adventure kind of stories. This one, with obviously that big heavy dose of mystery, this one in particular has quite a bit more intrigue to it, largely because of the constraints placed on Toby. And of course, it has all the usual character drama because these books, the one thing that you can come down with these books is that you never find the characters in the same position by the end of it that you meet them. This is not just a it's never just a run of the mill adventure with them. They always go through something that has intense ramifications for their character moving forward, their development, their relationships, and these kind of things. That's absolutely what happens here. So in all those ways, it is very much a standard Toby Day novel. In that it's just a very fun read, a very fast-paced, engaging read, like they all tend to be. At this point, I'm 9 books into the series. There's 18 out, so I'm officially halfway done. And I just want to keep them going, because the other thing that I've also grown to appreciate with these books is the way that Seanan McGuire has some core concepts that she plays with throughout these books. Some things that Toby will like through every adventure rest on Toby's mind, and obviously the biggest one is family. Like, family is such a core part of her story, of who she is, both because of her upbringing, her situation with her biological family, her situation with her found family, and Toby has a very dysfunctional, complicated situation going with pretty much all her family members, and that's something that just resonates with these books. Many of the scenarios that we encounter are just people who have challenges when it comes to their own family, or the family is not. Family is very centric to these stories, and that's something that, like I said, it resonates with all these books in different ways, and we see that in the very premise of this book, in terms of the seneschal that gets ill shot and all of that. So that's just the core one. There's other ones as well that are just at this point I think I just have to say they're woven into the very fabric of these stories, because she can't. I don't think you could quite tell a Toby Day story without talking about these things, especially given the way that the characters just evolve in each book and the way that the story just unfolds. So because of that, like, it's always interesting to pick up one of them. It's always engaging in its own way, and of course there's the actual story itself, which is always fun to read. It's always fun to read, because one thing Seanan McGuire is not sure about is putting Toby through the ringer, and of course that's exactly what happens here. Sometimes I think that she's just testing. She's just writing scenarios to see, at this point, to see how far she can push Toby without actually killing her, or if she kills her, actually making her stay dead. That's kind of the vibe I'm starting to get with this particular book, at least. So yeah. All in all, like a really good entry into the series, as they've all been, and I have very high hopes that they will all continue to be. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Red Rose Chain. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.